Welcome back to Kearsarge Chronicle. We're here with Carol Williams of EPS. And Carol, can you tell us what EPS stands for?
Yes, it's Efficient Productivity Systems.
Efficient productivity. Now, could you possibly elaborate on that? We hear a lot about streamlining and things for business, but what can you do to make someone more productive?
Oh, I can do a lot of things. I like to take a holistic approach. So I'm not somebody that comes in and says, oh my gosh, what's this or what's that? You better do it this way. I start by listening. So I come in, first of all, we're on the phone, before I ever meet the person, probably, for about 20 minutes usually, and there's no charge for that. Mm-hmm. So we talk about why did that person call. And, it might be problems with their coworkers, or it might be just too many piles of paper on their desk, or their email inbox is just overflowing. What I do is I listen and I see if it's a good match. And if it is a good match, then what I do is I come in and I work in 3-hour blocks of time, and we start with a plan. So when you say other people, I'm not sure how many other people start with the plan, because that's really important. The work gets hard sometimes, especially if it's physical clutter, because physical clutter doesn't happen overnight.
No, it builds up. So let's start with that. Physical clutter, it's the beginning of the year. Everyone likes to get to their desk. I know I do every year. I'm like, okay, it's January. I'm going to have a whole new system of filing and organizing so everything goes smoother. So let's say I'm sitting down at my desk. What can I do to have all the things coming at me from directions, make it simpler and more efficient?
Make it simpler and more efficient. Well, one thing I do is I teach the GO system, and in the GO system we talk about something called the 5x5 habit.
Okay.
So there's 5 ways that things are coming in at you, and then there's 5 ways you can deal with it. Mm-hmm. So things that are coming in at you are voicemails, emails, things that you think of yourself to do. Somebody walks by and asks you to do something. There's paper that comes in at you. So those are 5 examples of what might be coming in at you. Then you can do 5 different things about it. Okay. Think about it. So you can discard. I like that one. Don't bring the junk mail in, right?
Try to turn it off.
You can delegate,
okay.
And we have a whole section on delegating. You can reference file something, and that's something else altogether. You can put it, file it for immediate follow-up, or you can do it right then and there. If it's 2 minutes or less, it's the 2-minute rule. Okay. Then you can just deal with it right then and there.
So it sounds like the GO system is a way of prioritizing everything that gets thrown at you at once.
Right, because there's all this stuff always coming at us. And we think that later, the illusion of later, we think a later will come, and later never does come. There's atomic clocks out in Colorado, and they measure the seconds of every day, not 24 hours, but they measure it by the seconds. And the most that happens is there's a leap second that happens every few years. So
I'm counting on that second. I already have something planned for it. It's probably in the BlackBerry somewhere.
Did that answer your question? I get sidetracked easily.
No. But actually, I have a question. You mentioned the GO system, and it seems like there's a way of prioritizing the information. How can a business or an individual go about working with you to implement that GO system in their life or in their business?
Well, to start with, I look and see what systems they have now, because I'm definitely a believer, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't come in with a sort of generic, overlay that everyone has to adhere to. But I ask a lot of questions, and then we develop the plan. So you asked a question about filing. Mm-hmm. Well, the easiest and oldest trick in the book is something called a tickler file, which many people have heard of, and possibly sometimes people start but never really, stick with. But if you use it well, even in today's world with all the electronic gadgets, it actually really works. All it is I call it the 1 to 31 files. So all it is January, February, and so on. So you need 12 folders for that. Mm-hmm. You can use those Pendaflex folders, the hanging files. Mm-hmm. And then you go 1 to 31, which is how many days in a month maximum. And then you may have a few extra files for specific projects or something. So then something comes in at your desk, and somebody walks by your desk and says, "Can you work on this report? It's due Friday." You think, okay, Friday. How many days will I need? What will I need to do? Okay, I need to work on that Wednesday. Today's Monday. So I go into my file. Instead of putting it on my desk, right, I I actually, at that point, go into Wednesday. I put it in Wednesday. So now it's not on my desk anymore. And it doesn't get lost anywhere. It's when I walk in on Wednesday, it's waiting for me.
Now, you mentioned before personality.
Yeah.
And I know when I immediately hear of efficiency, productivity, I think of personality at work or in social atmosphere, but I don't necessarily make that connection. Can you maybe give us a clue of how the personality might be a factor?
Oh, yes. Well, there's lots to say on that. We probably don't have time. What I use is I use the Right Path method. It's an online assessment. There are some people who have to be the leader. There's some people that could be the leader, and other people that don't want to be the leader at all. And so if you're constantly working in a leader position, but you'd rather be on the sidelines, you ever seen one of those exerciser grips and you're holding like this? You're working all day long like this. And at the end of the day, it's no wonder you don't have any energy left. So there's a good example of you have a leader personality, or you don't have a leader personality, but you're in the wrong position. See what I mean?
Well, before we close, I have two things I'd like to ask you. First of all, how can we get in contact with you? Because you've given us several practical things we can work on. And what if someone wants to elaborate a little bit more with you?
Okay. Well, they can call me. It's 603-848-4732. I answer calls within 24 hours on business days, open 8 to 5. They could also go to my website, which has a lot of useful information and links, and that's efficientproductivity.com.
Thank you. And just one quick thing, if one piece of advice for the new year that we might not think of, what would you tell people? Just say
no!
It's okay to say no.
Get more done by doing less.
Thank you very much.